Hello, this is Brian Resney, President of Resney Wealth Management. I'm bringing you an important update this week on the economy and the investment market so you can better your portfolio. You know, we're in full earnings season right now. In fact, last week started off with Alcoa, which the numbers were actually really good. And as a base metal, I think looking at those numbers are important to get an idea maybe how earnings season might turn out and how the emerging market economies are actually doing. This week, obviously, yesterday we had earnings from Yahoo, IBM, and Intel, and all those earnings look actually pretty good. At the end of the day, earnings do help drive what stock market returns are. I think there's a lot of pessimism out there. I think there's a lot of investors basing their decision based upon personal bias and emotion, or no investment strategy at all. I sent out a piece yesterday, why you need an investment strategy and why you need to follow it to win. Ultimately, the vast majority of investors, and I can tell you this from doing this for managing money for 26 years, the vast majority of investors who are using a so-called advisor do not have an investment strategy because, again, that so-called advisor is not a money manager or a registered investment advisor. They're acting as a broker with a title. So, again, you're shooting from your hip, and ultimately, I believe you're taking on substantial risk and not making the return you need to for the risk you're taking. On the other side of the fence, the do-it-yourself investor often isn't following an investment strategy either, and both can really lead to really bad performance on a portfolio and huge excessive risk with any portfolio. So I always tell investors, if you don't have a strategy, how are you going to make important decisions that are non-emotional based on your portfolio? Like, when do you buy? When do you sell? How much do you buy? What do you buy? All these things are built into an investment strategy. You know, I look at last week and some of the headlines were the market drops, two biggest down days at the beginning of the year. Markets crashing, investors run to the exits. These kind of headlines are what we call noise in the investment business. All these talking heads on Wall Street, all these news programs, there is so much of this stuff today. It's no wonder why investors are making emotional decisions about their portfolio. You never know what to do. It almost like it gives you a migraine. There's always somebody telling you to buy, sell, buy, sell. That's not an investment strategy. It's not going to help your portfolio make more money. In fact, if you ask me, I think ultimately it's going to cause you to make a lot less money and take the biggest risks of all, which is selling exactly when you should not be selling and buying exactly when you should not be buying. So what I'm going to say, and I've always said this for years, is you need to have a strategy, you need to follow it. Investors, I think there's a lot of investors caught on the wrong side of the sideline, and they're not making any real returns again this year, or they're positioned in areas that truly are underperforming a lot of the base benchmarks. That's why, more important than ever, I tell investors the best advice I can give you, turn off the TV. Don't listen to these people. Most of it is purely advertising and is not going to benefit your decision making or your portfolio. Listen to concrete information, firms that are not looking to sell a product but are looking to actually help manage and give you direct advice about not only the economy but the investment markets. A lot of what you hear today on the news is just hype to get ratings up to sell advertising and commercial time. That doesn't help you make money. It ultimately, I think, costs you in return. We've seen a lot of good come out so far this year. We keep hearing a lot of talks about China slowing down. China's GDP growth has grown at 8.1%. That's phenomenal. We would hope we can grow half of that here in the United States. Although our economy is doing better, slower than most people would like, things are ultimately getting better. And I think ultimately, if you're positioned in relatively stronger investment sectors and you sell relatively weaker investment sectors, you have a great chance to outperform all the benchmarks in the market. The most questions that I continue to get about, and not only in emails but on my radio show, is about gold. Investors are still wondering, do you like gold, Brian? Should you sell gold? Should you buy gold? We sold gold back at the beginning of the year because based upon our strategy, it was relatively weaker based upon our formula than other investment sectors out there. What's interesting is gold has grossly under returned almost all the other sectors we're invested in by about 50%. So the bottom line is this: when do you buy? When do you sell? That has to be part of your investment strategy, and you need to follow it in order to win. This is Brian Resney, and until Sunday show, make sure you have a profitable week. And as always, If you have questions about your portfolio, send me an email question. I'll read and answer all email questions on the radio show. And as always, we like taking on new clients who want to better their situation. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait till tomorrow. Bad investment advice doesn't fix itself. Call my firm today for a consultation. Remember, it can't hurt to talk and discuss your options. There is a big difference from a firm like ours that manages money versus a so-called advisor or Wall Street. Call us today. You'll be happy with our results. Have a great and profitable week.